Live from all over this beautiful land, this is the Testosterone Zone with the fine men, Noel, Keith, and Steve. Take it, boys!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 46 of the Testosterone Zone podcast. This is Steve, and I'm back with Noel and Keith. How you doing, guys?
Hello.
Howdy.
Hello. Well, we got a different twist on the show, so we're still going to talk about tech in this show, but it's not going to be Texas Tech, right, guys?
Oh, well played. Well played.
Yeah, thank you. I just made that up. We're actually going to talk about, just give you a little foresight to next week's show, as Mark, who was one of our guests in the Zim and Vigor show, it was at the Consumer Electronics Show this past week, and he's going to be on next week to tell us a lot about it. But we had got to talking since our last show that there's a lot of different apps we use, different games that we play, and so we thought we'd talk about some different items that have either been useful in our life, helped us kill time, or whatever you do with your phones, laptops, whatever. So anyway, I know, Keith, you had a couple apps you wanted to share. You want to kick it off?
Sure, yeah. So what we decided we would do is one app that we find useful in certain situations or certain things that we do, and then another app that's kind of our guilty pleasures app for when we're trying to kill some time. And so I gave this a lot of thought to try to come up with something besides the usual. I mean, everybody does Evernote, blah, blah, blah. But so what I tried to do is my wife and I, we like to travel a lot. And so we were introduced to a website through some friends that is called Viator, Viator. And they also have an app. And basically what Viator is essentially is it's a website that allows you to find, when you're in different locations around the world, try to find travel insiders that are handpicking the best local tour and activity providers. So they're basically legitimate local tours and activity providers, but they are recommended. So it's kind of like the Yelp version of finding activities and excursions for traveling, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, basically what we try to do is we get feedback from other customers around the world as to excursions that they've taken. They get to rate them. They get to submit links to connect with those individual travel tours. And then you can go from there to try to book things. And so we just got introduced to this last month when we were in Germany, and was pretty neat to use as far as taking a local tour of an area that we had a really, really entertaining individual who helped us with the tour. It was pretty funny. And so we're pretty excited about using this for some of the other things that we're going to do. We're going to probably try to do a Mediterranean cruise here next summer. And we're hoping that we can use this to find some good tour guides in those areas, maybe aside from some of the excursions that the cruises offer, even though most of those are so good. So we'll see how it goes, but so far it's been so good. And so it's Viator, Viator. So that's my useful app for travel situations.
Nice.
The other app that I use, I'm sorry, what?
No, I was saying nice.
Yeah. And so the next app that I'm using is basically, what is my guilty pleasure app? And so, so Steve was mentioning before we started the show that a lot of times we're in the air flying and stuff. And that's when we're really wanting to kill the time the most, is when we're on business trips or things like that. And sometimes in the air, you don't have the most awesome internet capabilities. And so I tend to still fall back on Fallout Shelter. That's a fun game that you can play really without having to be online. And it's just to me, it's just entertaining. You can spend hours trying to build the perfect Fallout Shelter, so to speak, or explore and manage these guys. But it's free. You don't have to, unless you want to. You don't have to pay a whole lot to do things. And it's just, Fallout was one of my favorite platform games, all of the series. And so to have them kind of create a little neat app that's a little game for phones that ties into the actual big games of Fallout was kind of neat. It was a pretty neat transition and a good idea that they did. So that's my guilty pleasures app. and aside from the Candy Crushes of the world and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So for my money, that's the one that I can always fall back on and know that I can be entertained to kill some time for a while. So there you go. Who's next?
Go for it, Noel.
All right. Well, for my productivity app, I guess is probably the way I classify this. It's an app I discovered a few years ago called Scanner Pro, and what it is basically is it's an app that can use the camera on your phone to take a picture of a document, and it can turn it into a PDF. So if you have like a receipt, for example, that you have to submit your expenses at work or something like that, it comes in super handy for that. I use that all the time. I just take a picture of the receipt, it scans it to PDF. Then it allows you to attach it to an email, send it back to the office, and you're done. So I've used that app for quite a few things, but I can't remember if it costs anything. I don't think it does, but if it did, it was pretty cheap. But certainly gotten a lot of use out of that. So
yeah, I'm looking on it now in the App Store. It looks like it's $3.99 if you're doing the Scanner Pro, which really isn't that bad.
Yeah, $3.99. I mean, $4, and if you're out, like especially if you're traveling, or if you travel for work or whatever, you have to keep up with receipts for stuff, or purchases, or anything, or any kind of document that you have to scan to PDF, rather than having to go to the printer and put on the thing and scan it and all that kind of stuff. If it doesn't have to be the highest quality, your phone can work perfectly in those kinds of situations. So definitely use that one quite a bit. So highly recommend that. And then for my fun app, I've been playing lately, and I kind of rotate. So I'll play a game for a while and kind of get bored with it. I'll search and see like what's the latest and greatest game out there and download it and play it, or just kind of see what everybody else is playing and try stuff out. So, but I've been playing Command and Conquer Rivals game right now. I went through about a 5-year stint there where I was hooked on Command and Conquer, the computer game. This was before kids, and it was really bad. Week. Oh my gosh! So, if you've never played a Command and Conquer game, it's a war game, and you have control over an army, and you get to build your base, and then build. You can select units to build, like people or tanks or whatever, and then you build up your army, and then you go and destroy some other army, and accomplish stuff or whatever, accomplish a goal. So the Rivals, you're actually playing other players online, and so it's pretty quick, it's pretty fun, and highly recommend it for the guilty pleasure time when you get some time to kill. So
let me ask you a question on that. Mm-hmm. Do you find like when you're playing with other people, do people drop out pretty often? I mean, is it a frustration? Because I can kind of see how playing online would be a blast, but you always get those trolls that'll leave.
Yes.
And, I mean, do you find that being a frustration, or does it switch? How does that work?
It doesn't happen as much on this game than the other ones I've played like this, where you're head to head with somebody that they find online. I don't know if Command and Conquer is concealing it more or something, but with other games, I mean, you get halfway in, you start doing good, and then the person just quits on you. And this one, I haven't noticed that as much. It was obvious a couple times that they quit, but that doesn't seem to happen as much with this game. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Steve-O?
Yeah, so I actually got a couple apps. One I use for work, and one that I use for work and home. The first one I'm going to talk about is called Wunderlist, and it's spelled Wunderlist. Some people might call it Wunderlist, but it's basically a list creator. So I'll tell you why I started using this. I was actually told about it by a friend, but when my wife and I first got married, we found ourselves to be very disorganized, especially when it came time to do things like go to the grocery store. So we basically what you can do is, we share a list together. And so as there's things that we notice we're about to run out of in the fridge, almost out of bread or whatever it is, we add it to this list. And so variety of different things like, hey, we use it to help keep track of bills. Hey, on the 15th, we got to pay electric bill or whatever it is. And so it helps us organize what we're doing. We feel like we went to the store and we never got everything we needed. And then we ended up, because we didn't have a list, we ended up buying more than we needed. So it's actually helped us control our expenses a little bit and also help us be a little more organized. Now, this other app that I use is called Mile IQ. And in my new role at work, I actually get paid mileage. And
I've used that. That's
so my number one fear is I forget to write down my mileage before I start. And so it occurred to me that there's probably an app that would help me never forget. So this app is actually, it uses your GPS system. So every time you get in your car, it detects your movement and it tracks the mileage from point A to point B. And each time you stop, it creates a new trip. Then at the end of the day, whenever I'm done traveling around to all my different stores, I'll stop, and basically acknowledge, is it a work trip or is it a personal trip? If it's a personal trip, I delete it. If it's work, I add it to the log. And so both of these apps I told you about, they're free to download. Mile IQ does require a fee, and there's different payment plans out there, but it is worth it considering that, I log about $200 in miles each month. So it more than pays for itself. But I thought that was pretty cool. It made my life certainly easier. I have not failed to log any mileage yet. So it's really helping me make a little bit of extra money.
Yeah, I was introduced to that by one of the vendors that works with me. And man, I tell you, it's such an easy thing to use too, which is nice. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
definitely. I submitted my first mileage expense at the end of December. And I was told by the lady that audits our expenses that no one's ever been that detailed. And it was great. It just sent me a report to my email and I attached it to the expense report. And it was a piece of cake. And
that's awesome.
Yep, absolutely. So as far as guilty pleasure goes, Keith, I wrote down Fallout Shelter because I need one more game to entertain myself. But I play Golf Clash quite a bit, and it's can't play it unless you have internet access, and so it's limited while I'm in the air. But while I'm at the airports or wherever, it's sort of fun to play. But I still play solitaire, like I've done all my life, and I'll spend hours.
Can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, I'll spend hours on the plane just playing solitaire, and then a different game out there called Word Crossy. It was pretty fun, and I do it so I can just I guess kill time and
So what is that one about?
So basically, it's basically a crossword, but it gives you six different letters, and you got to come up with all the word combinations to fill the puzzle. And I'm like on around like 430 now, and I'm about to the point where they're getting too hard for me. I can't find all the words now. So, but it's a lot of fun. It kills a lot of time, and it's what I need whenever I travel so much now. So. Anyway.
Yeah, gotta find something to kill time.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I was looking. It is hard to find games that don't require internet connection. Yeah. Like when you're on the plane. Mm-hmm. I know you travel on the plane a lot, Steve.
Yeah, definitely.
I was trying to Google when we went to Germany here. I was like, I've got to find something for this haul. Mm-hmm. And you Google like games that you don't need to be connected, and it's like the top 10 list of games like this, but they're all the same. There's only like a certain amount of games that they think that are great that that you don't need an internet connection on. So I'll have to remember that one. Yeah. That'd be kind of fun. A good brain stimulator at the same time.
Exactly.
So that's a good one.
Cool.
So, very nice. So now one of the things we all discovered an app too here recently that we're kind of testing out that we may try to come out with some kind of competition. You want to talk about it, Steve?
A game called The Truth Comes Out, and it's pretty entertaining. It requires, I think, at least 3 or 4 people to play. And
I think it requires 4.
4 people to play. And so, the best way is connect with people on Facebook that are friends and also playing the game. but it asks you, I think, 4 different questions, and it said Noel's favorite thing to do is blank ? And everybody comes up with an answer, and then you answer all the different questions, and then after that round of questions is up, then you actually go through and vote on who has the best answers, and then you go on to round 2, and then I guess whoever wins has the most points after round 1 and 2, and is it 3 rounds?
I think it is 3 rounds.
Yeah, 3 rounds. Then whoever has the most points after 3 rounds is the game winner. But it's pretty entertaining. Of course, if y'all listen to our podcast, you can imagine that some of the answers get pretty clever and sometimes a little predictable.
Is that what you call it?
So it's been a great way to just stay connected and have a little bit of fun, and for us to sort of work in some of our antics from the podcast. So it's pretty entertaining.
And what's fun about it is it's not one of those games where you all have to be connected immediately at the same time. It works better that way, I guess I should say, because you're not sitting around waiting for everybody to answer, because that's the only, I guess, negative that I've seen from this game is if you can definitely get yourself stuck waiting on that one person to answer,
Mm-hmm.
But if you take this in stride and say, okay, you know what, every day we're going to answer one question, and by the end of the 3rd day we figure out who the winner is, and that makes it fun. So you can do it to where you're not just sitting in a room saying, okay, here we go, everybody jump on. You can definitely invite friends, and you've got, I think it's 12 hours that you can wait to answer a question if it's out there. So
Sure.
So you can get your work day done and then take a break. When you're on a break, answer a question. It's not something that requires your undivided attention, which is nice. But yeah, that's also a frustration though. You gotta remember to check it, or else everybody else is going crazy, just going, are they ever going to answer it? So, and I wish there was a way, like on some other games, you have a way you can nudge people to kind of remind them.
Yeah.
I wish that they had that. So hopefully that'll be something that they do a little bit later on, because, for me, I'll be busy and then I won't see the little thing come through that says everybody's taking their turn and vote. So, it would almost be nice if you could do one nudge per round or something like that,
Yeah.
So, because that way I'd just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't realize everybody was done. I must have missed that. So
Yeah, for now, I just send you and Noel a text, remind y'all to answer.
Yeah, what guys gonna answer? Y'all there? So.
Did the game end?
Slackers.
That's right. So we in the coming weeks we are going to set up our first contest of 2019, and we're going to use this, and we're not only going to look for the winners of these episodes, but we're going to let everybody vote on what they think is the most outrageous answer to some of these questions. And so we will be putting information out on something that we're going to talk about in a second. But we are going to try to get as many people involved with this as we can. And we will do the same thing as we did with the Pick 5 Challenge. And if we have enough support, we will definitely send out a prize to the winner as well. So,
yeah.
But I think it's a fun enough thing to get some people. And knowing the guys that are listening and who did the College Football Challenge, I can only imagine some of the answers that we're going to get.
Totally.
So it's going to be good stuff.
Yeah.
So more details to come.
Very good stuff. Well, I know, Noel, you've been working on something that's that you're going to share with us that helps earn some additional brownie points. I mean, you've already baked pies for your wife and friends, but you found yet one more thing. I don't know if you're trying to buy a Corvette or what you're planning to do, but you're racking up. So, Noel, tell us what you got, and I think all the guys could benefit from this.
Yeah, it's something I saw. Actually, it was one of those ads on Facebook. I was typically just scroll past the ads and don't really pay attention, but for some reason saw this one and stopped and kind of read more about it. And there are a bunch of comments, and so I read through some of the comments. Some people thought it was not necessary. Some people thought it was too expensive, blah, blah, blah. There's always negativity and detractors and everything on social media. So
can't believe that.
Yeah, right. Shocker. But it's a cool idea. And basically what it is, it's called Date Box. And if you've ever had a subscription service, sort of like our good friends at Bespoke Post, you get a month, you pay a monthly subscription, and then you get a box every month that has something in it. And in the Date Box, it comes with kind of a prepackaged date, some date ideas, or one of the things that I like is that it has some like conversation starters, things like that to use. And I mean, I've been married to my wife for over 20 years, and we've known each other for a long time. And you kind of think, well, why would you need conversation starters? Well, if you've been married for any length of time, or if you've been in a relationship with your spouse or girlfriend for any length of time, your conversations just sort of get kind of focused on a narrow list of topics. For us, it's kids and colleges, and for my daughter, and we talk about business, and we talk about this and that and everything, and it sort of kind of just stays the same. But the conversation starters are kind of fun topics to discuss and kind of get to know your significant other a little bit better. So, and they come up with some creative ideas too on things to do. And so they're still building it out, but they're actually making it to where you pay a fee, and basically you're prepaying for a date. So like your food or your entertainment or wherever is all paid for. And so you just pretty much just go to the restaurant, give them your voucher, and you get your date or get your food or drinks or whatever you're prepaid for. But that's only in a couple of cities right now. I think it's only in 3 cities, but they're growing this to include other cities.
I'm going to take a guess that it's not in mine yet.
I think your part of the state is going to be coming up probably later, but like one of the cities,
the year 2300.
Yeah. One of the cities they have it in right now is Oklahoma City, which is
really?
Wow.
Which
is strange. I thought you wouldn't think they would start there, but they did. And I think Nashville, Oklahoma City, and one other.
Dallas.
Dallas. So there's like 3. And they have other cities planned, with my city being one of them, which is kind of cool. Don't know when it's gonna get there, but they get San Antonio, Houston, Los Angeles, Seattle coming soon. So, cool. But they have other dates too that are just like for that, just you can do in your own home or around the house or whatever. So. I'm going to download, they have a free trial thing. I'm going to try it out and kind of see if it's worth potentially the money. And if it is, I'm going to get it and then review it and kind of share our experience and stuff with it. But yeah, the wife was impressed that he even brought it up and was doing something. This is earning some browning points there for sure. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. But, and it's what I like too. Another thing is, if you're like me, you get busy, and not that spending time with your spouse isn't important, because it's very important, but you kind of get sidetracked with work and with kids and with just the busyness of life. And sometimes you forget to just schedule a date, and you need that time together as a couple to grow your relationship and stuff. So, and nurture the relationship. So it's just one of those things that you need to get into a habit of doing, and this kind of forces the issue. So I kind of like that about it too. So anyway, we'll see.
Very cool idea.
That's really cool.
I can't wait to hear your experience with your free trial, and you have to come back and let us know about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think the one
Noel destroyed my life twice this week. Just so you know.
Yeah.
The first one was, or I guess he caught me red-handed, or something happened in a bad way. So the first one, so Noel sends this thing out about DateBox, right? Well, I just happened to be showing my wife a thing on my phone, and this text message comes through. First off, she's like, "What's DateBox? Like, is it like a dating site?" And then she reads more into it. She's like, "Oh, well, that's a really good idea. I'm glad Noel thought of it."
So you don't even get credit for it.
No, I can't even. Now I can't even do
sucks,
it. So it's
man.
like, oh, that's great that you're the second wheel now that you did that, because somebody else told you about it and I caught you. So that was time one. The next time I'm we're doing this whole resolution goals thing where we're trying to lose weight and all this stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Doing pretty good. Going to the pantry, pretty minimum pantry. Look over to my left, and dadgummit if there's not a Halloween Hershey's candy bar.
Oh no.
And I've got this thing. There's nobody around in the room. Nobody at all. So I'm going, sitting on the kitchen table down. Got me a little glass of milk. Going to open that thing up. The next thing I know, I get a freaking text message from Noel. Not kid you not. Accountability time. How's your thing going? As I'm unwrapping the Hershey bar. I didn't tell him this when we were texting. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Yeah, I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I ate the thing. Don't get me wrong, but I did. But because of that, I didn't enjoy it. I'm just gonna say, and that's a lie too.
That's hilarious, man.
That's
I
awesome.
felt the disturbance in the force, man, or something. That's hilarious.
And to our listeners, if you decide to do this date box thing, just tell your wife or significant other that this was your idea that you came up with. Don't tell them if they learned it on a podcast, because you just ruined it.
That's a downer right
credit. Yeah, for sure.
Totally own up to the awesomeness.
That's right.
That's for sure. I can't wait to see what's in this thing. I'm excited.
Yeah,
about this.
it's an interesting idea. I hope it's not. I hope it's not something that we get and you open up and kind of roll our eyes at and be like, "Oh, come on," I don't want it to be too cheesy. But the one I saw one example of one, and they had like a some like you cook something, like you cooked a meal together, or it was like a dessert, like a guilty pleasure type dessert. And then you rented a movie and ate the dessert while you watched a movie or something. I mean, it's just simple stuff, but something you do together. And, the whole point of it is just to be together doing something. So, but we'll see. I'll give you guys a down low on it once I get it. So
sounds good, man. So as we talk about other good stuff and the theme of our technology show, Keith actually surprised me and Noel with what's the next step of the evolution of the testosterone. And Keith, I'm going to turn it over to you and tell us about the next development.
So 2019, a couple of the first episodes that we're doing here is a technology update, learning the latest and greatest next week, like we talked about with Mark at Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. He's got a lot of stuff. And so, as we're doing this, we think, we're growing in this group. We're getting some more things going on, and it was time for us to get a little bit more professional. So that being said, and to great excitement, I want to introduce that we now officially have our own Testosterone podcast website, and it is www.testosteronepodcast.com. And so you are welcome to click on that, and we give a little bit of information about who we are, a little bit of information about how the podcast came to be and kind of what it's all about. We're also going to use this as a place to put updates if we do contests. We've got a landing site where we can, like we did with the Facebook and Twitter pages, now we have a landing site where we can update charts, competitions, rankings, and whatnot. And we'll also be able to send out blogs or send blog updates that will relate to what we're talking about on the show. So, for instance, we and the one that comes to mind is back when Tanner did his episode on building that pergola, if you remember, and the bowls and things. And so, this will be a really neat area to where even if we wanted to insert a little video on how to make certain things, or some more pictures or some more direction. So even if on the man food time, if we want to come up and talk about the instructions on how to do the perfect reverse sear, this would be something we can post in our blog to where people can go back and find these things as we update them when the podcast launches. So it's just a nice area where we can do kind of an all-in-one location and keep everybody informed with what's going on in the testosterone universe. And it also allows everybody to be able to interact down the road to where all of our guests can send email to us and let us know ideas that they want, or they can submit if they want to be part of the show, if they've got something cool they'd like to share. And that will go directly to our email, which our email is now changed too. So the main email is going to be info at testosteronepodcast.com. So just trying to start the new year on a high note and and get a little bit more of a professional focus and a professional presence on our page. And we'll still have our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channels, all that. But this is just a good one-stop shop where you can go to everything. So hope you guys enjoy.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you for putting that together, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
Very
fun.
Cool.
So, yeah, I did the basics, and I know Steve's got more creativity than I do, and Noel's got more tech savvy than I do. So I did the brick foundation. Now they can make it awesome. But it's fun. I hope everybody enjoys making this thing grow together. So.
Very cool.
So, guys, it's our favorite time of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Joke time.
I don't know what to do because I didn't even have a good bridge for this.
Yeah. I was for sure that Keith was going to segue out of the podcast conversation or website conversation into a, speaking of, what is a...
I really thought about it.
Really waiting for that.
Yeah.
I felt awkward not doing it. I'm just going to...
I bought some shoes today from a drug dealer.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know what he laced them with, but I was tripping all day.
Hey, you know.
Hey. But ow.
So, guys, how did the police know that Will Smith committed the robbery?
Because he saw the Fresh Prince.
Oh, man.
Oh,
I thought we've done that one before, haven't we?
Yeah.
I thought that we did.
Try again, Steve. Strike one.
Well, I got a list, so here we go.
All right, here we go.
So, what do you call a large group of dancing rolls?
Large
group of dancing rolls. I have no idea.
Abundance.
Oh, that's pretty funny, man. Abundance.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
That's a good one. So, we've decided for the spring we're gonna start a garden in the backyard. We've learned that starting your own garden is pretty easy, but picking all of the vegetables, that's the harvest part.
Hey.
Oh, mercy.
I got another one.
Go for it, man.
All right. What do you call it when Batman skips church?
When Batman skips church.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Christian Bell.
Okay, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
That is pretty good. Oh my gosh. My friend got a job as a guillotine operator, and he said he'll be heading there shortly.
Oh gosh.
Hey.
Jeez. Hey, did you guys know that the first French fries weren't actually cooked in France?
I had no idea.
Did y'all know that?
No.
Yeah, they were cooked in Greece.
Hey, that's true. That's true.
No doubt about that one. Oh, okay.
I guess on that painful note, we'll go and wrap it up and call it episode 46. So, guys, I enjoyed it.
Me
I guess,
too.
Keith, we'll throw up our list of apps and favorite games and stuff on our new website. What do you think?
So, yeah, we're definitely going to be putting up a blog, and we will launch the blog with the apps that we're talking about and recommending at the same day that the podcast is up. So as you're listening to this, you can turn to the website and see the apps that we recommend. And we'd love to get your comments about the ones that you like to use too, because there's so many out there. There's always something cool we'd love to learn about.
Good stuff, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and look forward to continuing our tech thing next week with Mark. I can't wait to hear all the stuff he saw at the Consumer Electronics Show.
Yeah.
I don't want to steal his thunder, but he showed me some crazy stuff.
Yeah,
me too. I saw something really cool that I want to talk about on that. I saw it online over the weekend. I can't wait to share that because it's something that I'd buy if it was affordable. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Anyway.
Yeah, I told him to come on today. He's like, dude, I just got back. I'm wiped out. I'm like, okay, fair enough. Next week.
That's awesome. That'll be a good one.
All right, everybody. Well, have a great evening. We will talk to you all on episode 47. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
See you later, everybody.
Ring-a-ding-a-ding-a-ding.
Are you having to make up for all the words you've missed?
I did a couple.
Oh, found the soundboard. He's back.
There we go.
Charge.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Testosterone Zone. We sure had a blast visiting with you. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, leave us some feedback, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
All Testosterone Zone podcast episodes are written and produced by Noel, Keith, and Steve unless otherwise noted.
The opinions expressed in the Testosterone Zone podcast are our own and not those of our employers, families, parents, kids, dogs, cats, your mom, or any other entity Noel, Keith, or Steve are affiliated with now, in the past, or in the future, or ever.